Hello. It's Shabana here, your very own attachment style coach, yours truly. And today I'm going to be talking about the one thing that we really need to talk about when it comes to attachment styles, and it's not really talked about a lot. Now, let's start at the actual beginning, right? Because attachment styles, 1969, I think it began and went into the 70s, was by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. I'm going to be doing a video a little bit more about that later, so click follow so you can see that. And the thing is, what they were obviously looking at was the way that we were as children around our caregivers, and I think it was specifically the mother. And the idea was that if the child, reacted in a particular way, that they became really clingy, it meant that they were going to be anxious, and this is going to go on into their adult life. And the same thing with dimssive avoidant, and then disorganised or fearful, I think, was added much later. I think it was in 1990 or something. That was also added because it was a combination of both. And the theory is that the least amount of people have it. My own experience has been that the vast majority of people are more fearful avoidant. That's a separate thing. Now, the thing is that with that research, the idea is that A equals B, right? If you were anxious as a child, you were anxious as an adult. If you were secure as a child, you're going to be secure as an adult. And as much as that is very valid and very representative in the most instances, and there's been obviously thousands of bits of research to show that that is very, very accurate, and that's why we resonate so much with attachment styles. The thing that isn't really talked about is the fact that this isn't always the case, and it isn't always in your intimate relationship that that specific attachment style is going to show up. And this is the reason why I always talk about it in the sense that there are attachment patterns and tendencies, because the reality is that we're not always anxious, and we're not always dismissive, or we're not always fearful, we're not always secure, right? There's different things, and also with that, even we still have some dominant ones, right? So we might have a range, but we might have a specific one. And so there's a likelihood as a result that if you were anxious as a child, that anxiety might actually be showing up in a different area of your life rather than with your intimate partner. So it might actually be showing up in your workplace, right? Or it might be showing up with your friendship circles, or it might be showing up with your siblings, it might be showing up with your friends, not necessarily with your partner. So, and then in other areas, you might be entirely secure. Does that make sense? And so the reason this is important is because we move beyond, what am I going to say? The labeling, right? We move beyond the labeling, because when we get stuck with a label, we think that, okay, this is all I need to do, and if I fix all of that, then everything in my life is going to be like, it's going to be amazing, right? And that's not necessarily the case. And so what I'm inviting you to do is to look at your 4 different attachment styles, right? Look at the secure, the anxious, the dismissive, and the fearful. And then think, okay, which one's showing up in the different areas? Which one am I at work? Which one am I with my siblings? Which one am I over here? Which one am I quite secure in? And then it moves beyond the labeling to the practical way of thinking, I'm absolutely brilliant over here. This one I'm quite secure in. It's this particular area that brings up a lot of my attachment patterns instead. And that way you're actually taking concrete steps to kind of heal those wounds, or heal that conditioning, or undo that conditioning, I would rather say, rather than getting stuck with the actual label itself. Does that make sense? And getting stuck in what's happened. Okay, folks, over to you. I want you to give me some feedback, because that's super duper helpful to me. Give me some feedback and tell me, okay, Shabana, over here in this specific area, I'm quite secure in work, but in my intimate relationships, I'm like really raw. Whatever it might be, I'd be super interested to know. Okay, stay blessed, stay happy, much love. Mwah.